This week, we have lost 3 more of our brothers and sisters to homicide. We have an epidemic of violent crime, broke a record in murders last year, and in my life we've had more than 4,000 murders in our city. That's bigger than any high school, all classes, in Kansas City, in this region, in Missouri, and in Kansas. These are all lives lost. Despite that, the Board of Police Commissioners has met twice this week, quickly going into non-public closed sessions and not spent a minute talking about violent crime in our community and how we can make our neighborhoods safer. While expected, today's lawsuit reflects failure, a failure of our status quo, where power and politics get more attention and energy from our state than the toll of violence in our neighborhoods and tragedies on our streets each and every day. And while the board's lawsuit represents a call for the status quo, under the status quo, we've lost kids, like Legend Taliaferro. Under the status quo, 2 people were murdered in Kansas City just yesterday. Folks, we cannot keep doing the same thing over and over again. The status quo is killing us. As I've said before, Kansas City reluctantly embraces this litigation to shed light on and strike down a system that for generations has been unfair, unconstitutional, and sadly, unsuccessful. I appreciate that rather than fixing this in the legislature, a court will decide on whether this system of control that ignores the voices of the people and hasn't worked for decades is good for Kansas City. Over the past week, we've heard many distortions and distractions. This increases funding to the police. This increases neighborhood involvement in public safety. And this increases my accountability, elected officials' accountability, and talking to the victims in the neighborhoods that are plagued by violent crime. The only thing it decreases is the power of Jefferson City to keep looking the other way as our community tries to rid itself of the tragedies we see each and every day. Over the past week, the city manager has met in person with the chief of police, and conversations are ongoing on how the department, working with the city, can make us all safer. To the people of Kansas City, and particularly to the rank and file of the Kansas City Police Department, we stand with you. We grieve with you. And those of us here in Kansas City, don't use your pain, don't use your hard work to score political points, unlike too many at the state level. Every officer at KCPD today will have a job next week, next month, and next year. And we have funded a new class of recruits so that there will be more people to join you. Don't believe those who seek to divide us. Don't believe those who seek to scare us. We all have a shared goal of keeping this community safe. I support our law enforcement and know that in this action, we are giving them the tools, the relationships, and the local voices to be safer here in Kansas City. So I'll note this and I'll wrap up in a moment. Kansas City will fight vigorously this effort to keep our hands tied in solving one of the greatest shames, the greatest shame of this city, one we have fought for decades. Kansas City will fight to shine a light on best practices and community collaboration with our police officers, not to stay in the dark about where our money goes, what we're doing, and how the hell once and for all we can get out of this generational problem. We have a murder problem in Kansas City, and I'll tell you, I'm committed to solving it if it takes us going all the way to the United States Supreme Court to do it. Our lawyers are currently reviewing the filings. We will oppose any emergency motions and will evaluate all constitutional counterclaims, including that this system undervalues the voices of all tax-paying Kansas Cityans, particularly black and brown tax-paying Kansas Cityans. I'll also note one other point, that there are $200 million available in the budget for the Kansas City Police Department. Today, there is not a budget crisis. There is not a layoff crisis. Those are threats that are meant to scare people. Those are not truths. And we've heard many untruths and falsehoods in recent days. We're going to make sure that we are sharing the truth. The truth is we have a problem. The truth is the City Council is committed to solving it. And the truth is that Kansas City needs to work together and truly care about how we keep ourselves safe. And there's another truth. Jefferson City has not worked to make us safer.